So you can learn more about that opportunity, and we'll be your megaphone here throughout Southern Indiana and beyond. Ben at extolmag.com, Jason at extolmag.com. So, all right, it is that time that we start to dig into that forecast and take a look at a couple corny weather jokes, some weather history, and the forecast as well. We've got Dennis Gregory. Happy Friday from Bedford. I'll be cruising through your way later today. I'll wave as I pass on by. Beverly, we'll see you later. Thanks for popping on here early this morning. And again, the weather headlines: sunny upper 80s today, small weekend rain chance late Saturday, early Sunday, long dry pattern ahead. The play ball forecast: we've got 80 at noon, 88 this afternoon. Good football weather in the 70s after sunset, and just a very light and variable wind. Grab the sunscreen if you're going to be out in it. We've got the Lanesville Heritage Festival all weekend long. Great out there in the valley. And we have the Bourbon and Beyond. Got a lot of friends going to that. And the Gaslight Festival in J-Town. It is festival weekend across the area. No excuse to be bored. All right, here's the corny jokes, the stupid weather jokes. What did the sun say to the stern-looking cloud? Why so serious? I actually kind of made that one up. It's raining cats and dogs out there. I know, I just stepped in a poodle. And related to that, never mind cats and dogs, it was raining chickens and ducks yesterday. Foul weather. There you go. Free weather jokes. I'm going to give these 6.5 out of 10. Feel free to rate them. Your weather history today, as usual in September. A lot of this is tropical related, but check this out. Way back in 1857, the SS Central America sank during a hurricane, killing 425. 14 tons of gold was aboard the ship as well. 1944, an Air Force plane lost some of the rivets in the wings as it flew into the Great Atlantic Hurricane. The hurricane was a Cat 5. 1961, an F4 tornado spawned by Hurricane Carla destroyed 200 buildings in Galveston at 3:15 in the morning, 8 deaths and 55 injuries. 1979, Hurricane Frederick, Category 4, made landfall at Dauphin Island, Alabama. Is it Dauphin? 125 mile per hour winds. Thankfully, they had evacuations, which saved a lot of lives. 1988, an EF1 tornado skipped through sections of Indianapolis. I think that went up towards Anderson as well. 2006, major flash flooding in Evansville, Indiana. 250 occupied structures sustained some degree of damage, 30 water rescues. And then a little more recently, 2013, torrential rains in the Colorado Front Range. 3 days of rain than ever before in any previous. Wait, by the 13th, some locations, such as Boulder, received more rain in 3 days than ever before in any previous month. Catastrophic flooding. I don't even remember that. How many days until autumn begins in 10 days? Average highs in the 60s in 37 days. Halloween in 49 days, and average first flurries in 64 days. And we've got high levels of ragweed across the area. Sue Shively, good morning. Thanks for watching Ben at 10 here this morning. And your forecast here for your Friday, September 12th, 88 degrees, sunny and very warm. Humidity will stay on the low side, which is a very light and variable wind. Sunset at 7:55. And your Friday night football. So we've got Seymour at Floyd Central. I think my son might be going to that game. We have New Albany at Bedford North Lawrence, Charlestown at North Harrison, Eastern at Silver Creek, Scottsburg at Corden. So a lot of good local matchups here for our Friday night football. 86 pregame, 82 at kickoff, 78 halftime, postgame, 74 degrees. And it's so nice that, yeah, it might be hot starting off, a little dry heat, but then it cools off nicely at nighttime. Forecast tonight, 63 degrees. We can leave the windows open once again as we cool off very efficiently at night. Calm winds. Sun up tomorrow at 7:23. We'll be heading up early tomorrow morning to Columbus, Indiana for a tennis tournament. And your forecast tomorrow, we have 60s up early, 82 at noon, 88 the afternoon high, giving it a 30% chance of a shower towards Saturday evening. Again, we'll see that with the hour-by-hour data here in just a second. Colleen Schaller, hey, we got a new name in here. This is why my allergies kicking my behind. You're not alone. I mean, my wife's sinuses, my daughter, sometimes I feel like the allergies can kind of turn into a sinus infection. And I just got over one. So many people getting impacted right now by that. So that rain chance tomorrow, as I mentioned, here's the little explainer for today. The disturbance that could give us a rain chance in Indiana, probably not Kentucky as much, tomorrow evening into early Saturday is called a ridge rider. So we've got this hump in the jet stream that's going to build over us over the next week and give us the hot, mostly dry conditions. But if you're on the edge of the ridge, you can get a disturbance to ride the jet stream. And if you notice really closely there, if you look closely, there's a little bit of yellow and orange. That is the vorticity. That is the disturbance, the uplift to produce a shower. I've got a little dotted dash line along that, cutting through it, the circle highlighting it. That's the ridge rider disturbance that may give us that shower chance late tomorrow. That would be the reason why. Otherwise, as that ridge builds in, that's sinking air and it just keeps us hot, high and dry for a long. So the 7-day forecast is mostly high and dry. I've just got that little mention there late Saturday, early Sunday. Really hope that we do get some rain, but it's a small chance at this point. 88 Saturday, near 90 Sunday afternoon. Lows will be in the mid 60s, hovering around the low 90s Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then we might start to see a rain chance return late in our next work week and into next weekend. You are so welcome for the welcome, Colleen. Again, thanks for tuning in here. So that there is your 7-day forecast. Now, as I mentioned, doing a little segment here before we dig into the weather models. I want to introduce you to my friend and my insurance agent. We got to head out on the golf course recently. So I'm going to add this to the stage and let's us take a look here.
All right. Hey there. I am meteorologist Ben Peine. It is Birdies and Bogeys with Ben. I am here with Michael Long.
Hello, everyone.
From American Family Insurance. We're here at Western Hills in Salem, Indiana on a beautiful day. And we're just going to talk a little bit and maybe have a little competition. And I'm thinking winner gets next round.
Winner gets next round. I love it.
All right. We'll be right back, and we're going to have a nice, fun day out here. All right, we are on our second hole. First question here for Michael Long. How many years in the business?
So I'm on my 13th year in the insurance field. Yes.
Okay, and what is the weirdest thing you've ever insured?
So I've been asked to insure a helicopter before, so that was unique. But I would say one of my more unique ones was a IT party up in Bloomington, and so I did a liability policy for a bunch of IT guys that get together and do a 24-hour session of IT work.
Not that they're getting crazy.
No. Yeah, I think it was some hacking and stuff like that. You know, I don't know really what that entailed, but we were able to cover them.
And then you've also covered a cabin back in the woods that I built.
Yes, we can cover just about anything. We've got all kinds of options to cover just about anything that you have.
There you go. Hole number 2. No mulligans? No mulligans. Par 4, 363 yards driver. He put it down, Michael put it down the middle. First drive of the day. No warm up. We'll take it. All right, here we go. Next question. So, as a parent of 2 teenagers, we know the premiums go up. They're not the safest drivers necessarily, especially the boys. So there are ways to save when you have kids that are just starting out driving, especially something to think about for parents that have college-age kids, depending on how far away they are.
Yeah, so we offer multiple discounts for students. One of them being the good grade discount. If they have a B average or above, they're going to get a significant discount there. Also, if they do drive or if they're at school and it's 100 miles away, and they do not have a vehicle at the college they're at, there's an additional discount there for that student. In addition, we do offer some youth volunteer discounts that are good for young drivers. So if they put in some quality hours with the church or volunteer work, there's some discounts there as well.
That's good to know because they can use that on scholarships and all kinds of stuff.
Absolutely.
As well. So there you go, ways to save, and then mom and dad can go play more golf. All right, last question here at Western Hills in Salem with Michael Long with American Family Insurance. And tell us about American Family Insurance as a company. And you also can service folks not just in the Hoosier State.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm licensed in 8 different states here in the U.S., and so I'm able to write insurance policy and service policies in those states. American Family, great company. One of the few that actually offer discounts on rates, meaning that you'll see an actual auto policy rate decrease at renewal. It's very rare that you see that in the auto industry and insurance, but in the last 7 years, we've probably had 5 or 6 of those. So you do see that quite often.
We haven't heard rate decrease in anything, groceries or my Doritos or anything, anytime soon. So thank you very much, and we'll see who has to buy the next round.
Absolutely.
Pretty soon. And I've been with Michael Long and American Family Insurance for probably a decade now, and been through accidents, been through my mom's roof getting fixed. So tell him I sent you to American Family Insurance and Michael Long, and we'll get you hooked up online on how to connect.
As I said, yay. Colleen says the 22nd wedding anniversary is celebrating on the 19th. What's the weather looking like then? So the 19th, we may get a shower chance by then. Should still be on the warm side. Thank you, Colleen, for the reminder there. Appreciate that. So we're about to dig into the weather model data. As I mentioned in that video, I got to buy Michael the next round of golf. I had a couple blow up holes there, but that was a fun time out there at Western Hills in Salem, Indiana. All right. So the big setup here, as I mentioned, high pressure. High pressure is sinking air, clears out the skies, gives us lots of sunshine across the region. Too much sunshine, though. That's why we're heading into drought conditions across the area. On the edge of this ridge of high pressure, the jet stream, that's where you'll find some rain chances. Now, we may get a disturbance late tomorrow that is a ridge rider and tries to drop into our region and gives us, we're kind of right on the edge. So questionable whether we will get that. But we will take a look here again with the weather model data. Let's bring it up. We are going to bring up the high resolution rapid refresh weather model. We will also bring up the NAM 3-kilometer weather model. So we are now into the hour by hour mode here. I need to bring up the 48-hour HER weather model and go into tomorrow afternoon. So let's see. So notice that on the model here, it's got, let me zoom out even farther, the ridge rider. So I'm going to go back here to right around noon tomorrow. So look up to our northwest. You see that rain there? And the big question mark, will it survive as it heads our direction? So this is at 4 p.m. tomorrow. There is a better chance over central Indiana of this rainfall. This is at 5 p.m. And then here you go. Late afternoon, evening time. There we're going to cross our fingers because we need this rainfall across the area. That potential right there. At 6 p.m., here's 7 o'clock as it basically kind of fizzles and doesn't really move much into Kentucky. So it just kind of washes out, dries out. That's the big question mark. Can this thing survive, this disturbance, this ridge rider survive as it moves into our region? So that's at 10 p.m. I'm going to go later into the nighttime, Saturday night, going into Sunday morning. It has a little rain chance here into the overnight period and into early Sunday morning. So check that out. This is 6, 7 o'clock Sunday morning, showing a rain chance there. So Saturday evening into Sunday morning, our best potential of a shower. And again, we all need that. That is the HRRR 48 hour. Now I'm going to bring in the NAM 3-kilometer weather model. And this is starting off with a look at around 1 p.m. tomorrow. So that is at 2 p.m. It also has the ridge rider, that disturbance dropping into the region. This is at 2 p.m. tomorrow. This is at 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m. So around the same time period, 5, 6 o'clock, looks like we'll have a better chance around Highway 50. We're talking North Vernon, Seymour, Brownstown, Bedford, Mitchell, maybe French Lick, Paoli, Salem, Scottsburg, Austin with that chance. Maybe Madison as well. There's at 6 p.m. It also fizzles this disturbance out as it tries to move towards the Ohio River tomorrow evening. But as we go to the overnight, it has this next disturbance trying to move our direction. And I think it's overdone with that feature right there. But here is our Sunday morning that passes on through early morning. And then we are back to dry conditions across the area. So Sunday morning, showing some potential there of a shower or storm. It will be very interesting because we're just right on the edge of the high pressure ridge, which would keep us dry. But we're also close enough to this disturbance that we may get that shot of some rain late tomorrow and early Sunday. And then we're back to just a long period of some dry weather. So there we go. That is our little rain chance there. Now I'm going to bring up the GFS high resolution weather model. And I want to show the 500. So who's wanting some rainfall? Yeah, Colleen says hopefully. Hopefully. And it's kind of weird. We talked about this before that want rainfall, that is for sure. I'm going to go back in time here a little bit. So this is looking at the winds once it loads here, way up high in the atmosphere. So take a look at this. This is the ridge, big, huge ridge in the upper levels of the atmosphere. So that keeps things hot and dry underneath it. But as you look, we are on the edge of the ridge in the upper levels of the atmosphere. So that could give us that rain chance late tomorrow into early Sunday. And that ridge stays in place as we head through next week. I'll take this to like next Wednesday, which is the 17th. And that ridge is still way up high up to the north. Now, let me bring up the temperature map here. So you can see sort of like a mini dry heat September heat wave. All the, the deep red colors there indicate the heat that is around our area. So this is through the middle of next week. I think the GFS has been a bit overdone. I don't think we're going to see like mid 90s or anything like that. But it shows you that the summer heat has returned. Thankfully, we're not tacking on really humid conditions with this. This is going to be kind of a dry heat in the afternoon, and then we can kind of cool off at nighttime. But it's in place through next week. And again, this is because this ridge of high pressure in the upper levels of the atmosphere, giving us a lot of full force September sunshine across the area. Now, moving ahead to Thursday, when will the ridge break down? I think is the big question. So that is still the heat across the area Thursday. Boom, 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 boom. The dew point is a measure of the water content in the air, and it's actually fairly low. We're still seeing some like 50s dew points with that heat. So kind of an arid heat. That's good. Kind of friendly lower 90s. And Colleen saying, growing up, I remember temps like this as well. Yeah, September is common to get some 90s at some point in September. So this is not abnormal to have this. But the moral of the story is some dry heat. All right, back to the temperature map into next Friday, which is the 19th. We start to see some cooler air north. So getting closer to the beginning of autumn, maybe the GFS has been trying to hint that we'll start to get some cooler temperatures in here. So going into Saturday, the 20th, it starts to bring in some of this cooler air. So look at that. That is a dip in the jet stream right there. And if that can happen, that is a good shot of cool air. Look at that. Boom, 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 boom. Will it happen? We will see, because right now we are starting to move into ban on a limb, because we are in now the longer range outlook. So that right there is the 21st, the last day of summer. Will we get some Canadian air crashing down into our area? This is the 21st afternoon, showing 60s, 70s across the area, even cooler high temperatures to the northeast. Signs of the seasons a changing. Into our 22nd afternoon, cool air in place over the region. Not a guarantee this will happen. The Euro doesn't do this as much. This is kind of bullish on the cool air. So this has basically September heat through late in our next work week, maybe by the end of our next weekend, as we get towards the first day of fall. Perhaps temperatures will fall. We'll see about that. Now I'm going to go into the 23rd morning, seeing if that cool air is still in place. And indeed, it is. So there we go. Perhaps we'll get that change. So thankfully, it's not a miserable heat that we'll have, upper 80s, low 90s, all the way through maybe next Thursday, Friday. And then that around the 20th, 21st, 22nd time period, I'm sure the timing will kind of fluctuate a little bit back and forth. That's when we might have the return of the autumn air in the area. And maybe the coolest autumn air that we've seen so far, autumn-like air that we've seen so far.